Hi, welcome to What's the Book About? I'm your host, Kevin. This is Patriarch's Hope by David Feintuch. This is the story of Nicholas Seafort and the Earth Rebellion. It is 2241. Nicholas Seafort is yet again Secretary Governor and running the government. But all is not well. You see, the colonists are struggling and chafing at Earth's tight reins and rule, with the Hope Nation having been freed very early in the series. They're actually aiming to be independent like Hope Nation is. The environmentalists on Earth are screaming for change as Earth's population struggles under the heavy pollution caused when they had to rebuild the Navy after the end of the Fish War. Now, the religious leaders, known as the Patriarch, are demanding a return to the strict old ways, and the military is clamoring to regain their power and prestige that they've lost during the destruction of nearly the entire Navy, again during the Fish War. Among all these voices, it's only Philip, Nicholas's son, that manages to open his eyes to the problems that he himself has created. Okay, so that's the spoiler-free introduction. Be warned, from here on out there may be a few spoilers. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. Philip takes Nick on a trip around the world, opening up his eyes to the cost of all these temporary measures that he's laid down and forgot to rescind. It's a very personal and quite heartbreaking trip, and it causes Nick to turn around on so many of his fundamental issues and ideals. It breaks a lot of his political alliances and shakes the faith among those who are, or at least were, loyal to his ideals. He ends up having to face down a military crew backed by these religious leaders, as well as stopping a conspiracy to assassinate him and his allies. And the results of all of this are both surprising and deadly, both to Nick and those he loves. Okay, so what's good and bad about this book? Sadly, the pacing is not as quick as it really needed to be. It needed to get the story going faster, and it just drags to a start. And the nuances between the various groups are not as fleshed out as we're used to seeing in his other novels. Now, the message of the book becomes more important than how it is told. I mean, the message is actually rather nuanced and well done, in that in order to keep an economy and people thriving and building, you do have to repair and rebuild things, and you have to be mindful of the cost, and both politically, personally, economically, and ecologically. And it's kind of ironic in that when you focus too much on one thing, you lose a lot of what you have and accidentally destroy it. And the irony is that the author, by focusing on his message, ends up losing a lot of that storytelling flair that he had shown in previous works. So in the end, what is the book about? Environmentalism! You see, each factor and group at play in this novel is trying to restore their environment. The eco-terrorists, in particular, are trying to restore the ecology, literally. The Navy is trying to restore their old physical environment of being the mightiest thing out there, and the Patriarchs are trying to restore their old environment of being the supreme faith, the supreme guiding light of humanity, because it is eroded over time. And these three major factions are so focused on their goal that they cause more destruction than they actually were trying to fix. And the main character Nick, while trying to restore a balance that he himself had tipped, each faction ends up fighting him, and each group makes their own mistakes, and to restore the balance, or a balance, Nick has to pay a tremendous cost and a terrible price. And the fact that the author does not stint from hiding the fact that, yes, making a major political change and environmental change on this size of a scale would not be free. It's one of the reasons I have to give this particular book 3 out of 4 stars. It's a really good read. It is published by Aspect and is still available as paperback or an ebook, so there's no reason you can't go out and read it and enjoy. Till next time, have a good one.